Okay, time for a week 3 recap. This is week 3 of our AI diet. I did weigh myself. I'll save that for the end. One thing though, you can see how I've started to prepare every time I buy meats. So I just use Ziploc bags, and I do have a sealer if I wanted to do the actual sealing using, what is that thing? Airtight sealing, I could. But so much pain, so much work. It's a lot of extra work to just toss in a Ziploc bag. But you notice I'm using a weight scale. You can buy a kitchen scale. But you can see what I did is I took a Sharpie, wrote right on the bag, and said this is 6 ounces. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the meat proportion and I'm going ahead and I'm writing on the bag how much it is. And then putting it in the bag and then freezing it. Now, you'll notice it's defrosted now. How did I do that? I just stuck it in water about an hour ago, and now they are ready to be taken out. And we're gonna add the sauce to them. Here is the George Foreman grill. It had a little accident earlier, one of the other days, but one thing about the George Foreman grill, red light is right here. And it turns on when it's heating up, that's red. Green light says we're ready to cook your food. Kind of like a waffle iron. Just like a waffle iron, it's got to heat up, and there's no on-off switch. It's you plug it in and it turns on. It's a red light going. You unplug it, it turns off. There is no on-off switch. You just turn it on, turn it off. It's a really nice, I like the grill. Sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's not. Oh, today, happy with the way I've cleaned it, so it's nice and clean. You can see its grill shapes. It's also got this little tray here to catch any extra juices that are gonna come out of the meats. So I'm gonna turn it on right now so that I can, when I cook the pork, it'll cook. Let me start with one of my pieces because the reason I'm choosing one of my pieces first, well, let me get the sauce ready. It's supposed to be a Dijon mustard sauce, and recipe, yeah, right. I would have to go online to find, but it's a Dijon mustard sauce. Dijon mustard and honey. So what am I gonna do? Take out some Dijon mustard. Kind of think about how much I'm gonna want to put on my meat. Not much, just a little flavor is gonna be good enough. I'm also gonna probably salt and pepper the meat before I use the Dijon mustard sauce. And once I got the Dijon mustard out, I like a good Dijon mustard, so that's why we have it. If you don't like Dijon mustard, then skip this recipe or ask AI, give me something else. What else could I do with the pork? What other sauce can I use on this lean center cut pork? That's the thing, it's also a center cut pork chop. The answer for that, and you can see it's pretty lean, not so much fat. But so I get 7 ounces, Happy Healthy Wife gets 4 ounces, so I've taken out 7 ounces for me. Let's see, that's good. That's maybe about a half a tablespoon of honey. Honey is like extra calories and extra sweetness, so I don't really necessarily want too much honey in my Dijon mustard. I can smell the honey, it smells pretty good. Get a nice little sauce going here. I was gonna wait for this green light to hit. But let's get into week 3, recap of week 3. So yes, bought the groceries, and yes, it's a lot of groceries to buy, a lot of groceries to put away. A lot of stuff we don't usually use as much. But so I'm gonna take the pork out. So this one is my pork for me. Gonna put it on the board. Notice I'm keeping the juice in the bag because I don't want that extra juice. There's a nice center cut. There's the bone of the center cut pork chop. Gonna seal up the bag and we'll throw that juice away later. I just don't want that juice spoiling what we got here. All right, and of course, because without any seasoning at all, it's not gonna be very good. So with Dijon, but I still want a nice little bit of salt in there. So we're gonna salt both sides. Good amount of salt. There we go. I'm gonna salt the other side. I could probably do 2 at once. My 2 at once, I'll do hers last. She likes it nice and hot. So that's why I usually save hers for later. I was not being very smart. Usually what I do is I do all the seasons on one side and flip the other seasons. I don't want garlic today. It's not gonna sound like it'd be any good. But you notice there is no oil going on here. Just straight salt and straight pepper. And the honey is a little sweetness, so that's a little bit of calories extra that you don't want to be too much of. There we go, nice little salt, nice little pepper. I think I can fit 2 of these on there. That is the one thing about the George Foreman grill. You can't fit too much meat on at once, so you gotta be wary of that. Here's a bag of 7 ounce. This is my lunch. So I get my dinner, and I get my lunch. Cook them all tonight, so I don't have to worry about cooking a separate meal of lunch. You can see some more bones in there. I might make this one my dinner instead. Extra bones. So again, get the bag away. So that is our storage system, a good storage system. Some of the highlights from week 3. It was easier. Less time spent in cooking because I didn't have to cook both a lunch and a dinner. What else was good about week 3? Well, they had a really nice dish, some really nice dishes. We had actually steak on the menu this time. And that's not an accident, Happy Healthy Wife said. I missed my steak. So it asked how the AI add some steak in our American meals. Because we had American and Chinese sets. So what it does, maybe I didn't explain it, but it does, if you looked at it though, you could have seen it. It does American on 3 days of the week, Chinese on 3 days of the week, and we asked it for, it's 1 day of fusion, you might call it fusion. It has like American and Chinese in that one. So it has different themes for each of the different days, and so she said, on the American days, please give me my steak, I'm missing my steak. Now I will say, my usual steak of choice to cook, ribeye or New York with bone-in. Those are the 2 steaks I cook the most. I'm gonna cook steak, nice thick ones too. Green lentil on it's ready to go. But what I did instead, what it said instead, no more fatty pieces of meat for you. The ones it suggested are flat meat. So those of you who eat carne asada, you're glad to know that it has less fat in it. So you can eat more of it and have less fat in your diet that way. Another one it suggested, the one that we use, is sirloin. Now that was one I had growing up with my mom. My mom always cooks sirloin steaks, and I hated the heck out of them. I mean, not because sirloin's a bad cut of meat, but because when my mom cooked it, it was always well done. So I just thought, I don't like steak. I'd always use ketchup with my steak because it was well done. But then once I went to the restaurant and had a medium steak, or I saw the red and I'm like, I wonder what that's like. I tried a medium steak. I tried those steaks. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you mean I've been having steak wrong all this time? It's a lot more tender if instead of cooking it all the way through, you only cook it a little bit the way through. Oh, so anyway, that's changed my idea of steak. So with sirloin steak, it was good, but it wasn't as much as you usually had. Actually, it was steak and roasted potatoes. That was interesting. So we added some steak to our diet because you know what we said? We lack a steak. So we had our first steak since going on this new diet, which was pretty good. It was definitely, as we were eating it was definitely a lot less than we usually get. I will say that. It wasn't as much as I usually eat, so I cooked less steak than I usually do when I cook steak. And we were able to barbecue it too. That was a great thing. I barbecued the heck out of that steak. Well, I didn't. I mean, it was a thin sliced steak. So that's not usually what I do. I usually do thicker sliced steaks. But it was still a nice steak. It was good. It was nice. A nice change. So yes, you can have foods that you like. That's the one thing I have enjoyed about this meal plan. And you can make changes to it. You can say, you know what? This is the food I like. Give me that instead. Or give me this. When I was selecting instead of lunch and dinner, I said, you're giving me dinners, but the dinners I want. Make all the dinners the dinner lunch except for Tuesday. I like that lunch, but make that lunch dinner. And it did, as it was asked, it was wonderful. Getting the choice of what we like. So we haven't been really, we've been eating the same foods that we always eat for the most part. Oh, this is a new dish. I've never had this before. For the most part, it's all the same stuff we always eat, just smaller portions for the most part. Portioned out, pre-measured. That's kind of what they say on your diet anyway, right? If you want to lose weight, eat the same foods, just eat less. And on the terms of hunger, I remember I mentioned our intro video. If you haven't seen that, if you haven't seen the intro video, go check it out. It's a good video. It talks about how we designed the whole meal plan, how it's working. Yeah, I know these both don't fit, but we'll make it work. Don't worry, it'll cook fine. And maybe you'll see some juices flow out from the fat flow out. The great thing about the grill, grills both sides at the same time. What was it? Oh, so about the hunger. So this past week, week 3, I certainly have been noticing I'm feeling hungry more often. Now, I don't have to ask AI to know what to do. What do you do if you're feeling hungry? You eat raw vegetables. That is the key. Part of it, like I said before about diet, my intro video, go and check that out if you haven't already, is that if you're on a diet, it's not so much knowing what to eat, how to eat. That's important. That helps. But what's more important than that is your willpower. Now, I did have willpower before, and I got myself down, like, I don't know, 30 pounds or so, and I looked much thinner in the early 2010s. I looked much thinner. Take a look at me there. And it was a good time for me. But then I was tired of always feeling hungry. So I stopped. And I started eating what I wanted and enjoying what I wanted. And I know, if we're talking to friends, a lot of coworkers and people, it's like, what happens? Like, you go on a diet, yeah, excellent. I'm excited, I'm good, I'm doing good. Oh yes, I'm losing weight. Oh, this is wonderful. But then you stop the diet, and what happens? What happens? You start overeating again. Why? Because you don't want to feel hungry anymore. You lost your willpower to keep your weight where it is. And what happens? You gain it back. And friends come along for the ride. You don't just gain it back, you go heavier than you were before. Now, I will say that as well. That's definitely true. I will tell you, during my years of not eating, of not dieting in a certain way, of not dieting at all. After my diet, I went up, about 240, stayed low at 240-ish. Well, this is my weight, isn't it? I'll be 240 for a while. But it didn't stop there. It wasn't that your friends did come back. The weight came back with friends. But what happened was, not only did the friends come back, but even though I stopped dieting completely, I kept gaining weight. I wasn't following any diet plan. I was just doing what I wanted. And I just kept gaining weight. It wasn't like, because I went on a diet, the weight came back and then some. No, the weight just kept going on, kept getting more. So it isn't so much that you lose your willpower and then you gain all the way back plus more. No, you would just always gain weight if you weren't dieting. That's the way I see it now. That's generally what happened. Because I was like 240 for a while in Hawaii. When I went to Hawaii in 2021. My son reminded me. 2021, I went to Hawaii, and I did. There were these electric bikes. They said you couldn't weigh more than 250 to ride the bikes. I tipped to about 251, 252, and they said, "Oh, we'll let you slide. You're almost there." So I was able to ride the bikes. I was at 250. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. And what's happened since? I just keep adding a few pounds a year until now I was like 265. It just kept increasing. The weight just kept going because I had no willpower, no desire to lose weight, no desire to change my habits. But now with AI, it's giving me a nice meal plan. If you can take a look right here, you can see there is drippage. That's what you're looking for. And that's what all the fat is dripping out. We put this into a nice fat jar later that we freeze and throw away. So what we can do now is we can open it up and move them around. You could just leave it there forever, but some of the, I want to get it all totally flat. There we go. Both of them are completely flat on the grill. That's much better. Because when you cook meat, it shrinks. If you didn't know, it shrinks. And we keep going. And I'll probably change it. You're going to see some grill marks later. It's a wonderful design. You'll notice that it's just cooking the meat and none of the fat stays on the meat. It just kind of drains out. So you want to make sure you have some sort of flavor. It's using all the flavor from fat. If you didn't know, fat is flavor. And so when you're doing stuff without fat, you got to make sure you have a good sauce or good spices. I've been using a lot more spices because spices are almost calorie free. Spices and vegetables. So you want to know a good way to improve your diet so that vegetables are free. Not the dipping sauce you dip the vegetables in, that's not free. That comes with a lot of high calories, especially with the ranch dressing. Take those chicken wings, you just dip in the ranch dressing, you're adding a whole bunch of calories right there. So as you're making these choices, you gotta know what's gonna add calories, what's not. So flavor is good, but one thing I will say, I have been hungry, but also at the same time, I have been feeling more satisfied because I've changed my mind, a mental change that I've decided that, you know what? I don't need to eat that whole steak. I've had the taste. I know what it tastes like. Oh, it tastes good. I don't need any more. You know, so I've been more satisfied just having the flavors as opposed to, oh, I gotta eat that whole 8-ounce steak or that whole 12-ounce steak, or, you know, go to those restaurants like, eat the 44-ounce steak, get it for free. I gotta eat the whole. No, I'm not eating that much anymore. So I'm trying to cut down and feeling more satisfied. The willpower part, more satisfied and stopping just by, oh, that tasted good. I don't need it anymore. I've had it, I have flavored it, I have tasted it. I know what it tastes like, and it's been good. And one thing that's helped me on that though actually is when I've been going to, you know, wife and I, we always, whenever we go to any restaurant, we always share. You know, she buys, you know, an American style restaurant is like, she buys a burger. Well, she wouldn't buy the burger. I would buy the burger. She would buy a French dip sandwich, for instance. I would buy a burger, and we, you know, cut in half, and we'd share. We'd share the sides. She might get a salad. I would get the fries, and so we'd share that. So it's much more about, you know, I just want a little taste of everything. So that's been more of the common theme during my eating to restaurants, eating at home. You know, I don't really need the whole thing. I just need, you know, enough to feel satisfied, the flavor. But I will tell you, I have been feeling hungry. And one thing I'm probably going to start doing about that is taking, oh, what shall I take? I think I'm going to be taking carrots with me when I'm having my lunch, or, you know, having extra carrots or having extra vegetables, because vegetables, maybe they won't give me that same full feeling that those pastas will, all those wonderful pastas, but, you know, they're still going to be there. You know, and I haven't done lasagna yet. I wonder what, if I can. Anyway, so let's see some of the other great highlights from week 3. Let's see. Oh, some of the things that we substitute. So in week 3, it said, please make some egg muffins. So what that is, you take a muffin tray, you put it with egg, spinach, whatever ingredients you want, and you bake in the oven. A little egg muffin. We're like, I don't want to spend that much time in the night making egg muffins. So what do we do? Egg skillet. Same ingredients, just make an egg skillet. So sometimes we substitute the cooking style as well. So it isn't just about changing the foods. You can see nice little grill marks starting to get there. You know, that's good and bad. You can talk to different people. Some people like the grill marks, some people don't like the grill marks, but that's just what it is. Get those grill marks out. We're gonna move these around so I get grill marks on the other side and keep it cooking a bit. Don't want to cook it too long though, because if I cook it too long, it's gonna be too dry, because it is lean pork. Now the thing about lean pork. Okay, that way. There you go, perfect. I'm gonna flip it over and do one more, a little more, and that'll be my lunch and dinner. Along with the vegetables and the rice on the side. I'm not showing you those, but well, actually, take a look at it right there. That's our dinner for tonight. And it's a good dinner, good dinner, good dinner. Okay, so we did the substitute egg muffin skillets, veggies and hummus. That is a true delight. And actually, you can get a lot more hummus according to AI. I mean, I didn't check the exact calories myself, but you can get a lot more hummus than you can sour cream or one of the sour cream dips, you know, that get made. If you didn't know, Hidden Valley Ranch is often, it's got sour cream plus the ingredients to make it taste good. And so that sour cream is just full of fat, and that's, you can't have as much of that. But I could get, for my portions, it was 5 tablespoons. For Happy Little Rice, it was 3 tablespoons of hummus. Oh, and it tasted really good with those fresh vegetables. I really liked it with the cucumber that they had with it. They had the cucumber, the carrots, the celery, and bell pepper. I'm a sucker for raw bell pepper, believe it or not. I can eat raw bell pepper. Not everybody can, but I like a good raw bell pepper. So that was a good highlight. We got the beef. Oh, the really strange highlight. This is the one thing I really want to talk about. Let me get a plate first. Wasn't thinking I should have had a plate out ready for this meal. Oh, I can smell it up here with the smoke. See that smoke wafting off? You can smell it up there. I can smell the honey. And I can smell the Dijon in there. That's looking good. Nice and cooked through. A nice grilled pork chop. Honey Dijon pork chop. And we'll put one for tonight. And this one's going to go in a different container for tomorrow. But I'll keep it here for now. But I'll put a different container when we're done here. You can see that grease tray is filling up. Now let's get Happy Healthy Wife's cooking. There it goes. And we smashed it. Ooh, there's nice. Lunch and dinner portion right there. So one new dish that came with the AI, it said, how about some turkey boats? Turkey boats. What's a turkey boat? I'm glad you asked. Turkey boat, you take a zucchini, you kind of hollow it out, the inner stuff, and you put in ground turkey. Now I seasoned it Italian style. They said it's Italian style, so I used my knowledge and actually was able to do a nice Italian seasoning on it. Kind of tastes like a garlic, believe it or not. Let's try this. I like that sauce. Kind of tastes like, you know, a garlic sausage that you get in an Italian restaurant. Like you get sausage in an Italian restaurant, that's what it tastes like. So it had that, added the tomatoes, added some spinach, fried it all together. Put that inside the zucchini, topped it with some pizza cheese. And I just bought some pizza cheese at the store. I was being lazy, like, oh, let's just buy some pre-shredded cheese. You know, mozzarella based. It actually had pizza cheese in the store. It was mozzarella with provolone, romano, parmesan. It had 4 cheeses anyway. And so I just put the spaghetti on top, baked in the oven for, you know, your 8-10 minutes. It's usually cook a pizza at 450 or 4 really high 400s, really high. And have that. And let me say, if you've ever had pizza, this was not it. I mean, it had the makings and the ideas of a pizza with the tomatoes, with the cheese, and with the meat. But there's just something missing because that pizza didn't have the bread that you're used to. I mean, I don't think I've really had cauliflower pizza much, but kind of like that feeling, you know? It's like, there's just something missing. The gluten from the pizza dough, it just wasn't there. I mean, did it taste good? Yeah, it tasted good, but it was kind of missing that pizza dough effect. I mean, did I like it? Yeah. Could it substitute pizza? Nah. Not gonna substitute a good slice of pizza. I'll be honest with you, enjoyed it, yeah. Filling, not really, missing that pizza. It was not that filling. Ooh, look at that. This one's gonna cook up much better than mine. Flip it, Second one looks better. Happy LD Wax gonna look better. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. Oh, you want me to taste this? See what I think of it right now? Sure, why not? Let's give it a taste, shall we? Let's not use the fork that was with the raw meat though. Fortunately, I'm right here by our drawer that I can just grab a fork and have a taste. And a knife. Because you know it's pork chop. You gotta cut through it. Lean meat. It's not tender. It's lean. This one has a piece of fat on it. A little bit of fat right there on the outside. So, let's taste. See what it's like. Wow. I can really taste the fat in that part. Not probably a bit of fat, but it was a nice slight hint of honey Dijon and a very good flavor. Something I really liked. Again, so this is done. Gotta unplug it. Oh, the weight. That's right. I told you I was going to tell you how much I weigh. Well, from this AI diet, and don't applaud me for it. I mean, again, honestly, it's a lot about willpower. I did ask Happy with the wife. She hasn't really weighed herself because she hasn't done the thing where you weigh yourself same time each day, because that really tells you kind of what you weigh. Same time each day. If you go to the bathroom before you weigh yourself, go to the bathroom again before you go to the bathroom before you weigh yourself. Every single time you do the same thing. If you do it after you wake up and don't go to the bathroom first, just do it after you wake up. But one thing I can say, Happy with the wife said, my clothes are feeling looser. And realize this is only the 3rd week we've done this. Her clothes are feeling looser. As for myself, you know, that usual 265 to 262 range, that's usually about where I weigh in. So I've weighed myself a couple times and I've gone it down to the 259 to 261 range, depending on, you know, how much clothes I'm wearing, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's lots of variables, but when I've been consistent in the morning, weighing myself, it's at the 259 range. Before, when I did that, it was like 264. So I can say after 3 weeks of this diet, I've lost probably about a good 5 pounds. So is it working? Seems to be working. But again, it's a lot about the willpower. And so we'll see how well we do next video. So come back next week, see how you're doing. Check out the intro video, see how that was. Check out my weeks before. See the journey of our weight loss program. And I will see you in the next video.